All right.
What?
All right. As we are getting started, not you paused. That's a cute little smile, though.
All these different platforms.
Right. Let me see. I'll start this one over. If it don't fix. Did it fix?
Now, which one is this?
Big O.
It's Big O. Boom, 40 people. That's wild.
I know it's been a while, y'all. Because I've been trying to, build my TikTok live. So I haven't really been on Big O. But I love Big O. Yay! I see you. I love you. I know it's been a while since I've been on Big O, but I am going to be coming back, especially whenever I have a live guest. So y'all just bear with me as I'm getting everything put together. Resume. Okay. Let me just make sure. It should be back to the original live that I had. That's the only thing I like about TikTok is whenever your live messes up, it'll let you resume back. Yep, there it goes. All right. Let me angle this one a little bit. There we go. I see you. It looks like it says you can now. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to make sure that everything is connected. For some reason, TikTok is giving me some tick stops. Okay. I'm going to just start it over. Because ain't nobody got time for that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Y'all just come on in. And I thought I was going to set up the couch, but I was like, damn, even that's why I had to lay back because it's too low for me right now. Okay, let's see if it'll resume again. It should be good this time. My dumb ass is using my award. Okay, it should be working this time. If it ain't, I'm gonna cuss them out.
Oh, yeah, it's acting up.
I don't know why I keep doing that.
You can now.
It might take a minute to try to. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and get it popping.
It's time for the Couch Chronicles. There ain't no fucking limits. Limits. Every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 8 Central Time. You don't know when it's couch. Trust me. It ain't no fucking limits. I said none.
Period.
Gotta keep my head up like I'm supposed to. Always tell the truth, I cross my heart and hope to die. This shit is crazy what I go through. I can't make this shit. No, I can't make this shit up. No,
welcome into the couch. It's the Couch Chronicles, where it ain't no fucking limits. I got Sara Foreman on the couch. Let me get it started on. I was trying to use TikTok as well, but I'm gonna go to the Instagram. So yeah, so let me get this right. Let me get this started real quick. Give me just 3 shakes of a lamb's tail.
I'm trying to get on Big O. Look at all of that.
All right. Okay. There we go. Let's get us a little bit of good old color. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Like what? All right. If you guys don't know, y'all see the shirt that she got on. Okay, she got the Elevate shirt on. And the song that was just playing is on the Elevate album. But the reason why I chose that song specifically, Can't Make This Shit Up, is because whatever you hear on this podcast, we can't make this shit up. I don't give a fuck if it's me talking. I don't give a fuck if it's Sara talking. I don't give a fuck if it's Nikki talking, if it's my wife, if whoever's talking, anybody that's on this podcast, we can't make none of this shit up. Now, it may sound crazy. It may sound ridiculous to you. It may even sound like it's a lie, but it's not. We can't make this shit up. So anything that you hear on this podcast, hey, I'm just saying. Now, if you are watching on Facebook and Instagram, when I have live interviews, if you didn't notice, they always get deleted from those platforms, but it will always stay up on YouTube. And it will always stay up on Spotify and Pandora. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. THA, real JANELL. Hey, I see y'all.
Hi, Nikki.
Right. Hey, Nikki. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe, like, and make sure that you follow Sara, on all social media.
I'm trying to get TikTok famous, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Big O. Hey. Yeah, Big O, make sure y'all follow her on all social media. Now, before we get started, I want to say, if I say anything that you're not comfortable with talking about,
I'm pretty comfortable with most things. I'm pretty,
But y'all know, if any of my couch potatoes, y'all know that one time I was interviewing this girl and I said something that she didn't like and she pinched me and we almost fought on the line.
Oh!
I was like, oh!
What?
I said, I'm about to stop this bitch.
Well, pinched you under the camera like?
Nigga, no, on the camera like this. I'm talking about this big. I was like, yeah, it was crazy. So, first of all, Sara, can you tell everybody where you're from and what you do?
I was born in Telequa, but I'm from, VA, you know.
Yeah.
But, from Broken Arrow, suburbs. What I do, I'm a recovery specialist. I'm many things, really. I'm a recovery specialist. I'm a mentor. I'm a house manager. I manage a sober living house, Brook House Living. I kind of mentor women that are struggling addiction or past trauma, that are trying to transition from prison into the world. That's a struggle. Right. So I mentor multiple women at one time. It's never lonely. It's never lonely.
Now, being raised in Broken Arrow, was it difficult?
No. Not to me. Being raised in Broken Arrow wasn't difficult to me. Being raised in Telequa was difficult to me because there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me. There wasn't a lot of people that looked like my family. So it's mostly natives. It's Cherokee Nation, so it's mostly natives. Then you got your Caucasian people who are like they call them card holders. I'm just saying what they call them.
Right. No,
look, I know this. So they call them card holders. But they were real racist towards me just because I was black, and there was probably it was such a small town. Like the black people in Telequa, they were families. The Foreman family over there. You got the Hopkins family over there. The Riggs. So it was families that most of them lived on the hill. So.
Was it more racist in Telequa than Broken Arrow?
Yeah. Yeah. Way more. I mean, it was more blunt, which, and I always say that I don't have respect for anybody who's racist, but I can deal with somebody who is like, I don't like you because you black, more than
hiding it.
Yeah, I'm not racist,
Right.
but
Right.
you know, one of them numbers. You know, I ain't racist,
No,
but my
for
bad,
real.
Big O. Yeah, I'm my bad, y'all.
Yeah, she got excited with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But when they like, you know, I'm not racist, but you know, I can deal with somebody who's just saying I don't like you because of
Facts.
you know.
I would rather. Do you mind holding this for a second? I would rather somebody be real and be like, yo, I don't like you because you black. And that's just what it is. I would rather somebody keep it real with me than to be acting. All that acting and shit.
I done messed that up.
It's all good, girl. Stop. There we go. Yeah. I wanted, let me put this, I might could put this right here.
You think you could probably put it right there, right? You think?
Yeah.
Maybe. You think? I don't know.
I actually got another stand. Give me 1 second, y'all.
Let's pause, y'all.
Don't judge. Now you let's pause. Don't judge me. But I want to make sure we get the best effect. And everybody could hear and see what my girl talking about, because this shit real. And I need you to have the best lighting. And it don't seem like it's down there. Oops, sorry. Yeah. So, see, now it was different for me because I actually used to stay in both states. Both towns. I stayed in Tahlequah.
Did you?
And, yeah.
What?
When they took me to DHS custody, that's where they took me
you
first.
to Tahlequah?
They took me to Tahlequah.
Did you stay there for a little bit? You went to school there and stuff? Or what?
I went to the alternative school.
Oh, that's crazy. And it was the opposite for you.
Yeah. To me, Broken Arrow was a little bit more racist. I had a teacher introduce me as the new nigger in school. When I was in, what school was that? What's that middle school called? Childers. Yep. Childers. And I got suspended my first week, and it was crazy. I was just like, damn. So
yeah, I'm not gonna say I never experienced racism in Broken Arrow. There was one time when my mom had to pull up to the school and be like, hey, not my baby. You know, like shit.
Right,
like she had to pull up to the school and be like, you ain't gonna do my baby like that.
Right.
But I think just us being, you know, black women, just black people, we're gonna experience that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna experience that.
Now that I'm older, it doesn't even bother me.
Yeah.
Like, you can call me the N-word, and guess what? I'll just be like, I'm not finna be trying to fight nobody over no words or nothing like that. It's just, it's not.
You can call me the N-word at work because I'm suing. I'm suing. It depends where we at.
Right.
Now, if I'm just walking down the street, you call me that or whatever. But call me that in a professional setting. I'm suing.
Right.
I'm gonna take that to my advantage
real
quick.
Now, we go back further than most.
Yeah.
What was your first impression of me in school?
Okay, let me think. Let me try to think far back. I want to say freshman year, South Intermediate. And it was with Broken Arrow. It was cliques. It's high school.
Yeah.
And Broken Arrow, we had our select, black people, and we all, clicked up.
Mm-hmm.
So you clicked up with us. You know what I mean? So
real.
we had each other's back. We all clicked up, whatever. And that was I was wearing Fat Farms back in this how throwback this is. Fat Farms was in. I was wearing Fat Farms.
Facts.
And you had some. What shoes was you wearing? I can't remember, but I was like, I like your shoes. You was like, I like yours too.
I know what you're talking about. I had some high top Adidas, and all the boys wanted them bitches. Like, I made sure. I don't know. I just was a shoe person. Like, I like the boys' shoes.
And we made a plan to switch them. You was like, okay, I'll wear yours one day, and you wear
mine.
Yeah. That was our first. And then after that, especially when we was able to driving around Broken Arrow, being bad, smoking them prime times and stuff like that.
Man, them prime times. I don't know who I thought I was. Now, do you feel the way that we was treated in school contributed to going to prison?
I think in-house suspension, ISS, how they treated us in ISS, isolation, putting us in the little cubicles and, eating lunch by ourselves, lining up, facing the walls type. Yeah. It definitely, it set me up. It set me up to go to prison for sure.
Yeah. And a lot of us probably have went through something similar, like growing up, that kind of reminds you, like, damn, this is when you got to prison. You was like, you know what? I kind of was already doing that.
Yeah. They already isolated me from my behavior, suspension. We was always in trouble. So yeah,
Did you ever expect to go to prison though? Did you ever was like, I'm always in trouble. I'm gonna be in prison one day.
No.
Me neither.
No, I didn't think it was that serious. I thought it was fun at the time. I didn't think I would end up being an addict. I was in sports. I was good in sports.
Yes.
I didn't think.
I was telling wifey how we was on the basketball team.
Yeah, I was good. So I didn't think, life would be lifing like that. End up, I didn't think that.
Right. And what's your best memory from being in school?
You know what? There's so many.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say when I was on the track and field.
Team? Mm-hmm.
Track and field.
Yeah.
That was like a sisterhood.
Yeah.
It was my first time experiencing a sisterhood, encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about me, it's about the team. So I got to do this for the,
Facts.
for the team. I love track. Yeah, track and field. So that was probably my best memories. That was my best memories. Yeah.
Now, what about your worst? What was your worst memory?
In high school. You know what? That's hard to think about. Because my experience with Broken Arrow, it was a good experience. So my worst memory, probably, you know what? My friend, the deaths.
Mm-hmm.
The deaths. It was real sad. I believe it was Adrian, Crutcher, and then, my cousin, Tony went to jail, then, Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that. And I wasn't even in high school when that happened, but them declining, like them getting in trouble, that happened in high school.
Facts.
Them getting in trouble, no longer going to Broken Arrow and stuff like that.
Mr. Tempe said, "How you doing?"
Hey!
Right.
I always liked the Tempe.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
I always liked the Tempe.
Now, when you caught your case, I was already in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was you going through around the time of your arrest?
Woo! First and foremost, an opiate addiction. My mom has 10 siblings, and most of them died of cancer, and for like 10 years, it was just her and my Uncle Marcus. I had to take care of my Uncle Marcus. He was dying of cancer. And my older cousin, who was like an older sister that I ain't never had, Marjorie, it was like he died June 23rd of 2011. She died on Cinco de Mayo. Like, boom, like. And it was back to back.
Oh, thank you for being there for me when we was in Mabel's. No one believed. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Anytime. And that's one thing about just even the couch. Like, I love doing this.
She was sweet.
I love being able to help. Just recently, somebody called me like, "Hey, do you still give out the day after pills?" I was like, "Yeah, I do. I give out day after pills. I give out fentanyl test strips. I give out Narcan, because you never know. And there's some people that still, I'm not judging anybody. If you still choose to do pills, I would rather you do it and be safe. So if you need anything, I have resources. I have different things that I can help y'all with. So I love being here for people. And my wife reminded me yesterday that, hey, you know what you're here for.
Yeah.
So put me back in my place.
Had to.
Yes, and that's what we should all be doing for each other. Put each other in our places in a respectful way, of course. I'm just saying. Now, how did you feel when you got locked up?
It was when I first got locked up, or because when I first got locked up, I was high. I was numb.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first got locked up, I remember booking took forever. When they finally sent me to the pod, I went on the pod, and it was Xanax bars. I was so high, I went ahead and fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was one of those. Whoa.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what did I do?
Wasn't you by the high school when you caught your case? At the
Yes.
convenience store?
Yeah. Not the high school across from the convenience store, but it was next to the highway.
I don't know how the word got to me immediately. They was like, Anna crashed into the convenience store by the high school. I was like, what?
I crashed in the highway, yeah.
I said, what?
In Broken Arrow, yeah. It was Xanax. Listen, y'all, I ain't never robbed nobody.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. Like, this is the only time that's happened. I'm not about that criminal life. I wasn't then. I'm still to this day. I'm not. It was just, I was being naive. I was withdrawn, didn't even realize I was withdrawn. I was withdrawn off opiates, and I was like, okay, maybe these Xanax bars will help me sleep. Well, they helped me rob a convenience store. Like something I would never, you know what I mean? And I took so many, I was kind of like blacking in and out kind of. Driving Michael's car, you know, and wrecked his car. And when I woke up in jail, I remember coming out the cell, and I was kind of like looking around. The first person I seen was Philly. And it was crazy timing. I go out, Philly's sitting on the chair, she's looking up, watching TV, and I see my face on the TV, and I'm like, I mean, I kind of knew what I did, but I'm like, is this serious? Philly turned around and looked, and she said, oh, you're going to be locked up for a long time. That's exactly, and I was like, what? You know, crying. I'm like, what? What's going on?
Matter of fact, he was at David Elmo's. I think we was in the same pod.
What, when I?
No,
you were in prison already.
Matter of fact, Philly was still there. I was
Philly
in there with
there.
Philly, and she was about to pull chains. I remember because she was pregnant when she first got in.
Yeah, and when I was in there with Philly was ready to pull chains. Like Philly was
right.
Yeah. Yeah, you had been there for like 2 years already when I got there.
Okay, I remember now. I was like, hold on, Philly?
But you was in there with Philly. Yeah, because Philly was in there for a couple of years.
She was still fighting her case. Right. Now, around that time, like just seeing yourself on the screen, like, and hearing people tell you what you did, even though you don't totally remember, like, how did that make you feel? Like, because that, I would have been like, what the,
And what really made me sick is I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be separated from my family for a long time. You know, that was what really made me sick, to the point where, like, I didn't even know I was experiencing anxiety attacks and stuff like that. Like, that was like my insides were shaking. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I was really, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm a broken arrow kid. Like, you know, at that time, like, I ain't know nothing about nothing. I wasn't about that life. Still ain't. You know, so it's it was crazy. It was crazy. I can't even describe the feeling internally that I was like, man.
My next question was, did you have a moment where you was just like so scared of the outcome that
you
said it shit?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Throwing up, like losing weight because I'm like, I ain't hungry. It was crazy.
It's hard. Like, people don't realize this. When you get into a situation like that, especially after not ever being in trouble, you literally, like, not only do you feel sick to your stomach, like you'll throw up, you'll have all of those same anxiety feelings, but then you have to think, oh shit, people watching me. I can't let them see this.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't have that moment until I went to prison though. In county, I was just like, I don't care. Like, I didn't care who watched me. I was like, I'm tripping. I didn't have that. No, I ain't gonna never let nobody see me cry until I got to prison. Like, prison was what really hardened me. I completely became somebody that I don't even know who that person was really, but that person was that person for good.
How did your family feel?
It was hurt. I was watching my own funeral. Like, yeah, everybody was crying. Michael was crying. My daddy was kind of like in shock. My mom was crying, and it was sad. It's something I'm never gonna put them through that again. I'm never gonna put them through that again. I can't. But
now, and I've sung about this in my Time song, if you guys ever listen to Time, but seeing your family cry in the courtroom, I don't know how to really explain that feeling, but the feeling was just like breathtaking. It was like this is for real. It was just like, oh,
it's like a realization that you think that it's you affecting yourself. No, you done hurt your family. Like, you done hurt everybody. You done hurt everybody. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah. It was wild because the day I actually they was coming to arrest me. I'm talking about helicopters and everything. And my parents was pulling up with a brand new car for me. I'm driving past them in the cop car. They like, what?
Like, what's going on? That's how my mom was. Like, you did what?
Like,
yeah.
And then whenever I called them, immediately, and that made me cry.
Yeah.
It's like hearing somebody distraught about something that happened to you can literally put you in a fucked up headspace. Like, you will literally, what the fuck? If y'all just now tuning in, it's Couch Chronicles, where it ain't no fucking limits. I do this every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 to time. Make sure you follow Couch Chronicles No Limits on Spotify, Pandora, THA Couch on Facebook, and my .com, which is THA, real JANELL. I got Sara Foreman on the couch. Make sure you follow her on all social media. Her information is in the description. All you gotta do is read it.
You got my information.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and play another song, and we're gonna finish up with this interview. But again, if you haven't checked out my Elevate album, make sure that you check it out. You don't listen. You see the shirt. You see the support. It's all about love, support, good vibes, and positive energy.
Hey, show love.
Shout out to everybody that's tuned in.
I'm gonna be something. So if you was out, I'll show you how I'm in my own plan. No man, don't take me off my word. But if you take me there, I'll show you why I don't play. It ain't a game. You say you can't for who you call. That's why it pays me to buy. Yeah. One call, I can get you on. And they be busting you down like some soft. Yeah, really don't gotta say much, but you can see that I got all the sauce. Yeah. If I give up, then it be off for nothing. If I give up, then it be off for nothing. On my tongue now, I'm too so.
Hey, I wanna meet her.
I wanna meet her.
Allure, I wanna meet you one day. Yeah. Pop up. Yeah, pop up.
God, if I don't become great, it's because they can't handle the real. And if I'm lying, put that on the Bible. Maybe I can call it a deal. People be lying, let's keep it the field. The shit you be saying, I can't even feel. So a lot of times I'm solo, cause people be switching like roles in the field. I don't have time to be playing these games. If I said something, I meant it. I'm setting examples. I don't wanna be like these lames. I'm in a name for myself, no one really gave me no help. I came in the game and I swear I didn't give them hell. I don't need you to apologize. You really show me who you really truly are. And I'm not even judging you, just saying that what you did say you would have to say. But it's okay, I'm doing great. I get to the pay. If I cut you off, it's cause you was fake and I won't see you later. If I give up, then it'll be off for nothing. If I give up, then it'll be off for nothing. On my time now, how to prove something. On my time, I did on my time. I said what I said and I know you know what I did. I stand on my word and I promise you. If I give up, then it'll be off for nothing. If I give up, then it'll be off for nothing. My time. I said what I said and I don't do no bluffing. It's okay.
Let's talk.
It's the Couch Chronicles, where it ain't no fucking limits, okay? If you are watching on YouTube, let me know, because somebody was blowing my phone up like 6 times back to back. Let me know if the sound went out, because then I'll just have to re-upload it, which is fine. But just let me know. Also, make sure you follow Sara on all social media. It's the Couch Chronicles, where it ain't no fucking limits. Let's get back into it. Now, during the time of your arrest, did you lose anyone as far as friends?
Like, lose friendships or... I mean... Yeah. But you know what? The one person that I did lose, that was on me. That was all my fault. But it was a family member. Close family member. I looked at her like a sister, and that was my fault. It was a cousin. But everybody else, like, I had my homeboy Isaac, he would write me, you know, once or twice, and Shannon Walkerstick tried to write me, but I never got the letters, you know what I mean? But I didn't really lose anybody. It's just I was in prison and life goes on.
Why was your cousin your fault?
Well, that's being in my addiction, crazy twisted up stories, crazy twisted up lies on my part, crazy stuff on my part, and it just I was just out of line, you know. I was wrong. It was real grimy, and she had every right to cut me off. We still don't talk to this day. So something that if I am ever given a chance to sincerely apologize, you know, I'm taking it,
right?
Because I was,
when you're in your addiction, you can do and say things that you would never imagine, that you not that you would do it on a regular day. It happened like that because
and it's crazy because, like, in my mind it made it like, at the time, it was so crazy. It made sense to do, and it, I don't know, it's something I carry, like, literally every day. Like, I don't want to carry it, but I carry it for sure. Wow.
Did your family come visit and write?
My mom constantly wrote me. I had an aunt that constantly wrote me. My little sister wrote me. My brother wrote me here and there. But they would visit, but it was like, it broke my mom seeing me in that situation. So every single time she would visit, I'll sit down and visit with her. The big eyes, my mom got the biggest doughy eyes, and big eyes would just get red, and she would just start crying every time I'd have to leave. And it just wasn't, she would do it on special occasions, like maybe for my birthday or Christmas.
Right.
But it was too hard on her. You know, that was hard. That's why I stayed high in prison, you know, not using it for an excuse, but I self-medicated because I'm like, look what I put my family through. You know, I didn't have the capacity to embrace that, take accountability for it, and work through it. I didn't know how to do it at the time. So I was like, I'm just going to get high.
Right. What was your first thoughts when you first pulled up in the van to the prison?
I was petrified. It was raining. The driver couldn't drive. I'm claustrophobic, so I'm all light, you know, and I'm in a close spot. So I pulled up. It was just like, it's like they do that like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, don't they? Or it's early.
Sometimes they'll do it it just depends, because
early in the morning.
Be early, sometimes it'll be late, sometimes.
I remember it being like, they got me out of my room like at 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And we got there like 5 or something. And went in, and, you know, they telling you to, you know, shake your hair out, you know, squat and coughing. Right. Doing all, I'm kind of looking at them like, what?
Right.
You know, so they were like, you heard what we said? And they had me do it like 10 times. I'm like, okay, now this, y'all violating my, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like, you ain't got no motherfucking right.
On me. That's exactly how it was. Like, nah, you DOC property. They let me know real quick. But, yeah, pulling up to the gate. Pulling up to the gate was scarier than having that window in front of the yard in A&R and watching the yard.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like once you pull up to that gate, then you know.
You in there.
Like, you in there. Like, they ain't finna turn around like, I'm just kidding. No.
You in there. There ain't no going.
And sometimes, if you know that you're not going straight to a program, you gonna be in there for a while.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. Sometimes it's sometimes people get in and they still can't get over the fact that they literally are in prison.
Yeah.
And even, I know me for sure, I'm still traumatized. I still have flashbacks and anxiety and all of that. I still think about, you know, what it felt like, what it was, you know, and now that they have it 10 times worse, 100 times worse.
It's crazy in there. I don't think I'd be able to, I mean, like my mental health, you know, I don't think I'd be able to survive what's all going on in there and what I see. And I'm like, what the heck, and what you hear. It's, nah, I'd have to tap out.
Yeah.
I'd have to tap out.
No, for real. Now, do you feel like prison changed you for the better or for the worse?
Both. When I first went in there, it was for the worst. You have to understand, I got arrested when I was 21. 21 addict. I'm 21 years old and I was struggling with addiction. So when you're struggling with addiction, people say, yo, yeah, your mind matures when you're 25. That's if everything is cool and gravy. If you got trauma, childhood trauma, struggling with addiction, your mind ain't maturing at the age of 25.
Facts.
It's not. So I was 21, still acting 17, 18. Didn't know who I was as a woman, didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know myself. So when I went into prison, I'm trying to see, okay, survival mode. Who can I become? Change your face, kind of like, and change your personality, change your appearance. Who can I become to survive this next 8 years? What do I have to do to survive this next 8 years? Straight survival mode as soon as my feet was planted on the yard. Then, once I built up a name for myself and I built up a little bit of respect, you know what I mean, I guess, I got tired of the prison life and started changing, you know. And then, you know, the stuff that happened after with Amber, I was like, something's got to change. So once I started changing and kind of calming things down and, you know, working on bettering myself and figuring out, you know, what does Sara want out of life, you know, that's when things started changing for the better. You know, I kind of took advantage of the fact that I am incarcerated. You know, I can work on my spirituality. I can work on my mental health. I can take the classes that they got to offer and get and use what I can get out the classes, even though the classes were sorry.
Right.
Most of them.
You know, for real.
Most of them.
Now, I always say that being in prison, you have to be something or someone that you're not. What are your thoughts on that?
It's absolutely, 100%. 100%, because you knew me in high school. If I were to come into prison, that person, and stayed that person, they would have ate me up alive. They would have ate me
That's
up alive.
That's why for me, knowing who you was in the world and then seeing your change on the yard, I already knew what it was. Yeah. Because
it had to
you already know, you knew me from the world, and then you already knew what it was. So it was just like, even some of you guys been knowing people from the yard, and this is what I used to really hate, is when people would be like, hello, hey Denise. When people would be like, oh bitch, I knew you from the world, you was never like that. Okay, but do you think a motherfucker about to come in the world and act like how they, and come into prison and act like how they was in the world? Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to make it, because people are going to do everything they can to run you over, make fun of you, or prey on you. And especially if you was us in the way you talk to them like a white girl. That's what they say.
That's what they say,
Why you talking like that? Like, this is how I talk.
Yeah. Automatically thinking that you think that you're better. And it wasn't even nothing like that. This is just... It's where our parents brought us and raised, raised us, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have no choice, but, you know, growing up now, I'm thankful that they made that choice, but, yeah, if I was that person, if I was just Anna, if I just came, hey, I'm just Anna, I can walk on the yard and do that now, but look what I had to go through in order for people to be like, we accept the new, quote unquote, the new Sara, you know what I mean? I had a completely... Man, it's kind of sickening. Yeah. It's kind of sickening.
It is. And traumatic when you have to when you have to be somebody else, or you have to be something that you're really not, because you don't want to be taken advantage of or disrespected or put in a position to where you got to fight your whole incarceration.
People give you nicknames and... That was crazy.
It says coming straight from a trauma situation to prison is shell shock, and you can be lost, but you're going to have to figure it out yourself, because 10 toes down on the yard, not 9. That's so for real. Yeah. Unless you're missing a toe or a finger. For real. No, because if you come the wrong way, they are going to get you. And I know...
It's like they pray. It's a sick... thing you developed while being in prison. You ain't got nothing but time, so you sit back and you kind of people watch and you read people. And if I were to go in there and be me, they would have prayed on that. They would have prayed on that. You know, 'cause I was struggling with addiction, but you know, there was innocent green kindness to me. So if I was to go into prison like that, they would have smelled that and been like, yeah, I'm about to eat this up.
Yeah.
I'm about to eat this up.
You know, they always say don't take the chips. And then sometimes you'll even hear cat calls when you first hit the yard. Fresh meat.
Yeah.
You think that makes a motherfucker be like, oh, well, no. Because you never know what fresh meat. You could rape me tonight. And rape does happen in prison. And I'm not just talking about inmate to inmate. I'm talking about staff too.
Oh, yeah. From what I remember, it has been inmate to inmate a few times, but it was mostly staff members, inmates, mostly. Yeah.
And you know, it's
sad.
Talking
about Priya, don't take the chips, okay?
Yeah.
Well, like, check your officers too, check your staff members.
Right.
Please.
And it's sad when you have to be able to protect yourself from the authority, and it's hard to. So that's why some of the women, they get taken advantage of, they get raped. Because who is going to protect me from this officer?
I remember, Officer Baker, the one that had all those counts. There was one time I was cleaning my floor. It was on C1A. You remember the back rooms? Yes. It was that 2 men, but there was a wall right there. Yeah. Right? So I'm cleaning my room. I didn't hear him come up. So he's doing count. My door is open. And he didn't yell man on the pot or nothing. So I'm cleaning. And he steps in my room. I got my shirt off. And he's looking. And I'm kind of looking at him like
what the fuck?
You can count and go on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he walks in my room and does something with his cuffs. I said, if you step any closer. I said, we had that case manager with that native dude with the braid. I said, I'm going to scream. And what was his name? Do you remember his name?
No.
Little something. I was like, I'm going to scream and with the case manager. I said, I promise you the case manager's going to hear me. You know who I'm talking about with the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. He was my case manager. And I was like, I said, if I scream, I said, you going. I said, you better step back, and he stepped back. And I want to say like a few months later, that's when he got caught up with Candace and them. Yeah.
How does that make you feel like when officers put you in a position or do something that make you feel like either they're going to rape me or they're going to do something? How did that make you feel?
When that happened to me, when he did that, I was just like, kind of ready to fight. That really made me mad. I was like, yeah, go on somewhere with that. Like, I'm not the one. But my experience with the officers it was different. Like, they made me, it was just all angry. It ain't never, oh, you're scaring me or, oh, my feelings are hurt. No, it was anger. It was anger that, because they would do me, oh.
Do you think they did you wrong because you're
yes.
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 What I was gonna say is, did you consider yourself a stud on the yard?
No, never.
But they looked at you as you was a stud.
Yes. And when I was on the yard, Little John, yes,
Mr. Little John.
Mr. Little John. Thank you so much. So when I was on the yard, the exes that I had on the yard, they were and I ain't gonna say any names, but you know the ones that I was with. The officers took a liking to him. I'll just say that much. So it was always an issue. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like threatens by.
If an officer, this is the thing, and anybody that was locked up knows this. If you're a couple on a yard and the officer likes the feminine looking one, that stud gonna get the blues.
And I was getting it.
That stud is gonna be treated
I was getting it.
The scum of the fucking earth. And then they gonna do everything they can to make it look like they was in the wrong, that they are just disrespecting staff, and it happens like that.
Yes.
So again, that also makes you have to put on a facade and be something that you're not. Because it's like, damn, nobody's believing in me. I gotta stand up for myself. But if I stand up too much for myself, I'm gonna get a misconduct.
Yep, that's exactly it. There was this one woman I was involved with that they just liked her. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just wanted her, and and we were constantly fighting, and every single time pop up with something, I was always getting sent back there to like every single time. It just never, God, I was always back there unlocked, especially behind that particular one. But yeah.
Now, what did lock do for your relationship with your family? Like,
what elaborate? What you mean?
Okay, so when I first caught my first misconduct, they dropped me from a 3 to a 1. And they took so long to give me my level back that I couldn't get visit. They wouldn't even let me have a phone call. Like, they made it to where I couldn't get canteen. Like, they was making it miserable for me.
Yeah. Which
also in turn got me rude and mean letters from my family. Have you?
My mom didn't. It made me feel bad because, I had Michael rode the whole 8 years out with me. And that's a whole nother subject and a whole nother, but he rode the whole 8 years out for me, and he was constantly visiting me. My family really didn't, but every time I was in lock, it would be like, I'm in lock, I'm gonna be able to see you for a while, and it would get him upset, and then my mom would just kind of be like, oh, that's a norm, you know what I mean, like, oh, okay, but
ISI all over again.
Yeah. On me, like, oh, you always in isolation, so. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure built resentment, all that. I was doing what I want to do, and I'm pretty sure built resentment.
Some of it wasn't your fault, though.
You know what? But, okay, some of it.
You can't help when a staff member
A lot
really
of it
has
was,
it out for you. Like, I'm going to tell you one staff member that always had it out for me was Miss Bohan.
Dang, she had it out for everybody.
It was like, when she tried to choke me, oh, that's when they shit me. They shit me like I'm the one that choked her. For real, I was just like, how do y'all allow a staff member that's so evil, that puts evil out, that literally...
Looking for trouble.
But y'all literally praise those officers.
Looking for
y'all give them a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're miserable. Fucking.
Well, the more most misconducts they rise, the more phones they get, they get a higher ranking. That's always how you found so and so much phones, and they get a ranking and stuff like that. That's
man, if I could think of that bald head man's name with the spots on his head.
Rosencrantz.
Yep.
Rosencrantz.
Like, I'm telling you, it was like, for real, like, some of these motherfuckers would just, woo. You lucky I'm changed. Shit. Now, with Michael riding it out with you the whole time, how did he feel when you got home and you didn't want to go home to him?
Oh, that's not how it happened.
Okay.
This is how it happened. Okay. So, he picked me up. He rode us all the time. Okay, so, Michael he was out here, he was doing his thing, but he was also, doing childish boy stuff before we went to prison while we was living together, you know what I mean? And I told Michael, this is the thing, I said, Michael, and at the time I was like into zodiac signs and stuff like that. I was like, I'm a Scorpio, you keep on doing this, I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get you hard. I kept telling him that I'm gonna get you hard, and mind you, he is still my dearest friend today, and I have the utmost respect for this man. So I'm not saying this to be, disrespectful or anything like this, but I was going to get him back. That was like, I had a vengeful heart. So I go to prison, and I'm like, you know what? I find out, I forgot the girl's name. He was messing with this girl I told him not to mess with. I was like, boom, doing my thing. He tripped out because I was, fooling around with women at the time. I get out, he comes, picks me up. And I thought, and it was so much trauma that because he was traumatized too. With me being locked up, me going through addiction, me dealing, cheating on him with women inside, he was traumatized too. So I get in the car and I'm like thinking to myself, okay, how am I going to snap back into reality, snap back in the world, snap back in this relationship and be okay and do this? How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And,
Laura's on my big Scorpio gang.
For real, you already know how we get down.
Yeah.
So, I think he was thinking the same thing too. But mind you, Mike already had a woman pregnant. So Michael already had I'm saying he was doing his own thing. Michael already had a woman pregnant by the time I got out of prison. So he was trying to figure out, well, how am I going to sit there and tell her that I got a baby on the way and love her at the same time? It was straight up confessions. You hear me? But I knew that I was no longer in love with him, and it had nothing to do with the experience I had in prison, like the sexual experience I had in prison. It had everything to do with the trauma that I had in prison. And I knew that I wasn't in love with him anymore. So when I got that call, he was like, "Oh no, I got a kid on the way." My family members, close friends, they call me Anna. So he was like, "Oh no, I got a kid on the way." So it was like, okay, so should I feel some type of way about this, or is this an exit?
Sign.
Help. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I was like, okay, so what are you asking out of me? Do you want me to like play stepmama? No. You know, he wasn't really answering that. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. You're gonna be a daddy to your family, your kid is cool. We could be friends. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. That he had somebody pregnant, and it just didn't. Which, you know what, it worked in my favor because I was like really like
trying to figure out how you was gonna get out anyway.
No,
for real. And it's like that, you know. A lot of times we think that because somebody's riding with us the whole time, obligated. That, and then we think that when we get out, it's gonna be the same. Like it's gonna be. It wasn't even the same with my family.
Yeah, and I had to work
went in
that.
at 17. They still thought I was 17 when I got out.
Yes.
And it was like, damn, you are not allowing me to grow. Yeah. Like I'm literally trying to grow up, and you're steady telling me, "Oh, you need to grow up." Can you allow me to?
Yeah.
You're holding me back as well.
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to transition being back with your family?
Yes. Because they didn't understand nothing I went through. Nothing. It was real hard. And we got through it. We are doing amazing now. But I remember that second Christmas, my sister was pregnant, and I was like, I'm about to, you know, I got in an argument with both of my sisters. Then, you know, my mom was like, "Oh, it's your fault." And it was just so much. Came home to my parents being a divorce, got this 4-year-old niece looking at me like, "I love you." And I'm like, you know, that's my niece. My niece and my nephews, they're my babies. But it was completely different. And trying to, because, you know, they say a person getting out of prison is the same, it's equivalent to a soldier coming back from war.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, again, I'm at a spot to where, okay, who do I have to be? Do I got to be somebody? Where do I fit in? What do I do? I'm at that spot again. And then dealing with the trauma, they didn't understand me. But, you know, I'm thankful for, I'm thankful for Rhonda Bear and his house ministry program because I was surrounded by a group of women that understood me. Rhonda, she understood me, you know. So, man, I just remember being in the program and feeling at peace and safe under Rhonda's roof and dreading having to go home, on Thanksgiving, Christmas, for my birthdays, because I'm weird now.
Yeah. Right.
Because I'm
weird.
And
I literally was like, damn, like I don't fit in with society anymore.
Yeah, I'm weird.
Like, when I first moved to Detroit, the only thing I could really talk about was prison. That's my only really experience that I can draw from. And they'd be like, "Man, you need to shut the fuck up. Can you talk about something else?" So then I got quiet. Then it was like, "Oh, you weird. You don't say nothing?"
Yeah.
Well, I can't say nothing because anything I say is going to be like, "Oh, shit, I remember whenever Anna did this on the yard." And I remember whenever Jennifer Garza, you know, just something from prison. Or they'll be like, you know, if you touch this water, oh yeah, that's how we used to be on the yard. And I will find myself doing that so much to where before I went to prison, when I was in prison, I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna ever be institutionalized." Then whenever I came out and I didn't fit in, that's all I was institutionalized.
That's it. That's all.
And it was just like,
that's all.
Who's gonna understand me? I still gotta wait because all my peoples were still in prison when I first got out. I got out early because I got a class X misconduct and they was giving those days back. So I was like, oh, that kicks me out early.
Yeah, I'm about to get out. Yeah.
So it was just like, it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard when you feel like nobody understands you. And the only ones that understand you was the ones that was locked up with you.
I remember when I went home, it was really hard separating from, you know, my best friend Terry. It was really hard separating from Terry and Caitlin, you know. And when I went home, I'm kind of like I felt like I was in a dream of fog. I'm like, dang, I'm like really not. I'm not gonna wake up. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow in my mom's house. Like, it was comforting, but then kind of weird at the same time. So I get my phone. My friend Terry calls me, and I'm like, "Oh, Terry," answer the phone. I'm excited, and my mom was like, "Don't you think you should separate from that from a little bit?" And she didn't understand that you don't know what me and Terry has been through. You don't know that this is like
8 years, 9 years.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't never separating from Terry Rim. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't say that to my mom because I had to understand her perspective. She's like, listen, you're not in prison anymore. Please, like, love us. It's about us. You know what I mean?
See, but this is the thing, and this is what, because my parents try to pull that too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, y'all don't understand that I'm uncomfortable around y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, y'all don't know me.
Yeah.
And then when I'm trying to talk to you about something, you literally looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if I talk to my friends that I was locked up with, they're gonna understand exactly.
Yeah.
I won't have to keep explaining myself.
Yeah.
And when I have to keep explaining myself, it's making me feel like you don't want to understand me. Because I just explained this to you a minute ago. But don't tell me not to contact my friends that's in prison. Don't you need to get out that life? Well, it takes a transition to get out of something.
Yeah.
And it takes a transition to go into something. And it was just like, well,
and
they talk to y'all.
Yeah, and they don't understand that when you find a genuine friendship in prison, it's very rare.
Yeah.
I can't even explain it. I can't.
I've
had close friends out here that I love still to
the
this
crazy
day.
thing is the people that was locked up, we don't need an explanation. We get it.
Yeah.
Because some of us all still keep in touch with each other. And the change, the love that we have for each other is one that I've never had this type of relationship with even somebody out here that's been knowing me like for a while.
Yeah.
My relationship with my friends that I met in prison
is completely different.
And
I think it's because like we were living with them. You know, I don't know what it is. Trauma bond, living with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were stuck in this world. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I think that's what it is. Because don't get me wrong, the friends that I had before prison, I love genuinely still to this day. They can call me. My homegirl Tanita lives in Texas, and if she calls me and says I need you, I'm driving my tail to Texas.
Yeah.
You know, we've been friends since we were like 13. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I don't know, it's a different type of friendship.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's something. It's like you said. I can't explain it to the public, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
People that's been locked up knows what I'm talking about. You know.
And I'm not taking away from my friends that I do have now.
Yeah, no.
Because I have a best friend that I moved out here from. She moved from Detroit to Texas, but from Texas to here, and like I don't ever want to be without her. Like that's my motherfucker.
Yeah, that's your friend.
But my relationship with the people that I was locked up with,
it's different.
You know what I'm saying? Like even with my wife, there's nothing that anybody can do or say to change our bond or relationship because we've been there. Like we literally came from the pen to here. Like
it's just different. It's just different.
Yeah. And I know that the ones that's watching that's been locked up, y'all get it.
Yeah.
So if you're just now tuning in, it's the Couch Chronicles where it ain't no fucking limits. I do this every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 Central Time. Follow Couch Chronicles No Limits on Spotify, Pandora, THA Couch on Facebook, and Big O. Couch Chronicles No Limits on Instagram, and my main YouTube Instagram, and my .com, which is THA Real JANELL. Make sure you follow Sara Foreman on all social media. And I definitely appreciate everybody that's tuned in on all of the platforms and that's listening on Spotify and Pandora. We ain't done yet.
I just big old been having people.
Yeah, yeah. We ain't done yet, so don't even trip. Now
she talking about don't be looking like that. This Rainbow, I know who you are, Rainbow. You was in high school with us, which I know. Carlinda, I love you, baby.
Yeah, I love all of y'all. I definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in for real. Now, let's see. My next question is, how do you feel that we was treated by the staff members?
Where do I start?
Right.
Where do I start? We were dehumanized. We was degraded, treated like animals. Mental health was neglected. Medical was neglected. Treated less than zero. Where do I start? I got stories on top of stories on top of stories with that. I done seen mental health. You know what? I work in a mental health facility, right? I work for Grand, okay? So when somebody comes to Grand and they're like, I'm feeling like unaliving, I don't know what words to use on social media, but I feel like unaliving myself, we have to take them in. It don't even matter if it's just a false cry. You said it, we got to take you in. You said it. So I've seen people in prison go up to the mental health building. Hey, I feel like I need to be put in a turtle suit. This is how I'm feeling. Right in the staff request. Boom, slam the door in their face. Oh, are you faking? Slam the door in their face. Seen one time, let's not talk about people who are struggling with addiction while they're incarcerated and they want to get out their addiction, and there's no help for them. But that's inhumane in itself because there's plenty of help out here. There was one time there was a girl, she was struggling with shooting up. And she comes up to me, she's like, Sarah, man, I've been shooting up for about like a month now. I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I just want to go to lock. So I'm like, go, thinking that they're going to help her. Go to the case manager, tell them that you're struggling with shooting up, and they'll send you back there to lock. They do it with Candace Buchanan all the time. So she goes in there, she's frantic, and I'm gonna say the case manager, Miss Gunn. Miss Gunn sitting down. Boom, she goes her rig on the desk, and she's like, I've been shooting up. I need help. Miss Gunn was like, take that filthy off my desk and get out of my office. I was blown when I seen that. I was like, what? I was like, are you so we can't get sober? Like, y'all not gonna give us the opportunity to get sober, especially when a person wants to get sober. Because I know everybody that gets high, not everybody want to get sober. But when a person wants to get sober and they're like, get me out of this hellhole, get me out of this situation, help me. Y'all saying that y'all can't help, lock us full. We'll get somebody out that's supposed to be there for 30 days for making hooch and put that person there. Help them detox.
Right.
Help them.
Do you feel like they was good at helping inmates detox, or?
Absolutely. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't care, and this is coming from somebody that didn't
certain people, I felt like they did care.
Certain people they did.
Because I was
that was
like,
weird.
now,
No, because I mean they sent Candace Buchanan back there real quick, and I love me some Candace. I'm not saying nothing about Candace. I love Candace Buchanan. That's my sis. But they would send her back there real quick because they seen her getting a little too, they send her back there real quick for certain people. I'll say this much: I bet you if T. Rucker was trying out for help, they'd send her police tail back there.
Now what?
No limits.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. Okay. The fuck.
I'm just gonna say it just like that.
Yeah. Now, why do you feel like they pick and choose who they wanted to help?
I think Chief Lorenz had a lot to do with that personally. And her babies, she had a group of babies. Her babies were her babies, and whoever, if her babies cried out for help, she was the mother hen. If you weren't her baby, you could be strung out in the middle of the yard. She didn't care. They didn't care.
Now, and I always say this, of course there was inmates bringing in drugs, but y'all know how many staff members was doing it too?
Lord.
And it was so many like that was doing it and getting away with it, and it makes me wonder, like, what was y'all motive? Like, what was the reason to get these ladies strung out? And then sometimes they'll get them strung out and then take them right to lock. Like they didn't just get them the drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you literally just gave me the needle and all but put it in my arm and you gonna take me to lock?
Yeah. It was wild. It was wild. I've seen some wild stuff.
Now, and I always say this on the podcast, and sometimes I get inboxes from people and they say, I don't believe that. But people were strung out in prison.
Oh, it was easier. Well, I say this, I'm just going to speak for myself because I'm not connected to any drugs out here. I'm completely sober. I don't even drink. But for me, it was easier to get high in prison than it is out here. Actually, the one time I did relapse out here, I relapsed out when I was released. the one time I did relapse, I had to call some people to get to the bed. You know what I'm saying? It's like when there, I could literally get up off. I'm in the day room. I could wake up, look right next to next door and be like, hey, you got some white? Oh, yeah, come on, let's go. It was that easy. So people, they were strung out. They strung out now. When I went back to volunteer, it was so sad seeing the people when I left. They was all right. I ain't gonna say they were great, but they were all right. I come back and everybody is like the Walking Dead. They was walking around like zombies. They were looking like they ain't took baths. They were looking, and it grieved me. I'm like, whoa, what happened? You could say COVID, but yeah, I'm pretty sure COVID had something to do with it. But it was more than COVID.
Right.
It was way more than COVID. Real sad.
Why do you think it was so many people strung out?
Because when you are in a hopeless place, you're vulnerable. You have mothers that, I'm not going to say all mothers are good, but you have some mothers that were selling drugs and selling their bodies to support their kids because that was them loving their kids and supporting their kids.
Thank you, Benji.
How do Benji?
Dallas in the motherfucking house. Yeah.
He's from Dallas?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to Dallas.
Come to the Dallas BET Awards.
When?
On the 28th.
This month? You going? All right, then. All right, let's go. But you got mothers separated from their kids. You got people separated from their family. So you're in a real vulnerable, hopeless, dark spot.
Especially if you get some bad news on the yard.
Oh yeah, because there's nothing you can do about it, right? So you're in a situation that you're not a human being. You're nothing but a number. So you're at like your lowest of the lowest. So they don't have good mental health programs in prison. So when they don't have good mental health programs in prison, what is a addict? What is a drug dealer? What is a criminal gonna do? The criminal is gonna become the best criminal they can be. Right. The addict is gonna seek drugs to self-medicate. And the hustler is going to sit there and sell drugs so they can have money to support the kids that they were supporting before they went to prison, right? So it's a cycle. So people are strung out to self-medicate because that's the mental health program they have that's available in the penitentiary. It's drugs. And that's sad and it's unfortunate because you want to numb the pain. You want to numb. Like I told you how seeing my family cry and see my family grieve me, how that made me feel. I didn't want to feel that for 8 years. I wasn't going to feel that for 8 years. So yeah, I was popping pills and the pills went to meth. And the meth did it. The meth was the ticket. The meth is what completely numbed me and made it to where I was like, okay, I can do these, last 3 years. It's crazy.
Now, and you'll be surprised how many people were actually strung out on meth. And a lot of people say, that's a white people drug. No, that's you think it was just white people that was on meth? No.
It started off that way until it flooded the yard.
But I've always seen to me that a black person that was strung out on meth. So it wasn't to me it wasn't no white people drug. I was like, I'm literally I know a couple of people. Yeah. I'm laying next to a person that's black and big as hell, and she was like, I love meth. Meth is my shit. Meth this, meth that, and I was just like, are you playing?
Yeah.
And no.
Dead serious.
But I had to go through an addiction with one of my good friends. Well, she was one of my good friends on the yard. And I literally had to go, whenever she was having her moments, I didn't want to be that person to be like, you ain't supposed to be, because everybody else was already doing that.
Yeah.
I just was there for
her. And
then
at the time, when you're struggling in your addiction, that's not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear nobody saying like, oh, you don't need to be doing that. Like you could still, because your mind's all distorted anyway. So you're like, oh, you judging me? Da da da. You gotta go Ike Turner on him with the, Scarface Ike Turner. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like, you don't want to hear that. You get very defensive. You're going to defend your drugs. This drug ain't did nothing to me but heal me and numb me at the time. So.
Now, was it a close friend that turned you on to meth, or was it just? You was like one day you was just like, you know what? I just want to try meth.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy. I was on pills. I did opiates before I went to prison, so I was continuing on doing opiates, taking Lortabs and stuff. maybe a ride here and there. I don't know. You know what I mean? But Lord's house is really my thing. So it wasn't easing the pain. And when I say pain, emotionally pain, that's what I mean. So I remember asking this girl named Haley. She's married to Shy. Do you know who I'm talking about? Haley Don. She's married to Shy. I remember her asking her. We was on the top floor, and I said, "What's meth like?" And because she was on it, so she looked at me with a serious face, and she said, "I'm not gonna tell you what meth's like." And she said, "Don't do it." She said, "Because if you do it, that's it. That's gonna be the end of you." And she was so serious, and she was like, "I'm not gonna tell you where it's at. I have some. I ain't gonna give it to you. I wouldn't wish this feeling or this addiction on anybody." Curiosity killed the cat. I ended up moving into a Foreman, and the first time I tried it was with, and she wouldn't mind, Echo. She had it on foil. I smoked it. I didn't feel anything. So I'm like, man, this stuff is, why is everybody hyping this stuff up? Like, this stuff is, boom, Echo leaves because I end up getting cut. That's a whole nother story. Me and Echo end up fighting. She ends up cutting my face, cutting me up, slicing me up. She leaves. Lori Bailey moves in. So boom. I asked Lori Bailey. She's selling it. So I'm like, you said, what's meth feel like? She was like, oh man, it just makes you really feel good. And you be up, you got energy. So I'm like, all right, So I leave it at that. I didn't try to, I just asked about it. I wasn't really trying to do it because I was kind of like, So boom. She's up one night. She put some meth in the tissue. I'm naive. I'm not knowing that parachuting meth is the closest thing to shooting up. I'm not knowing this. So everybody in this room, high. Sarah's the only one that's not high. I'm selling drugs, and she thought she's going to be the only one with the clean UA in this Foreman. I can't have that. Because if I go down, everybody else got to. You get what I'm saying? Because if things get hot, and she's the only one with the clean UA, she could possibly tell on us, whatever. Which people knew me. I ain't tell on nobody. I was too busy getting high in my own business. I wasn't a snitch.
Right.
So she put some meth in the tissue. She said, try this. And she's telling me this is how it's gonna make you feel. I tried it, drank it. That was it. I was instantly hooked. Face instantly picked off. Weight instantly dropping.
Face picked off?
Yeah, I was picking at my face. Like, I would probably say that was like the second week. She was getting me. I don't know how much meth she was putting in that tissue. I just know I was like, open your mouth. I'm telling you, that's how she was doing me. Open your mouth. I'm taking it. I'm stuck. And then she would give me the little video games to play because she was shooting up. And I was stuck in the room for about 4 months. And when I realized you have been stuck in this room, strung out.
Oh, wow.
It was my friend Terry.
Congratulations. September 6th is a sobriety day.
Congratulations, for real. Congratulations.
That's huge.
Yes, it is huge. Hand clap, for real. Yeah. My friend Terry came up to the room, and I never missed Terry. She was my best friend. I never missed her birthday. She looked at me and was like, "Sarah, you missed my birthday." And I looked at her, and she was like, "Where? Like, you look crazy. Like, your face is picked off. You 140 pounds. Like, what's going on?" And I was like, I said, "Terry, I'm sorry." And she was like, I already know what I heard what's going on. I just need to see it myself. And she walked out.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, that made me feel horrible. But not horrible enough to stop.
So is that why, like,
I love you, Val. I love you. That's my coworker right there.
Hey, Val.
That's who I was talking to. She was talking about Gabby, talking about how much she loved Gabby.
Is that why you stayed in the room? You didn't want nobody to see you?
Oh, I didn't want nobody to see me like that. Because I've always been, like, I'm 160 now just because I'm on a weight loss journey. But my normal weight is like 200, 210. So I'm like, if I walk out here and I'm over here looking like a skeleton, I'm looking raw. My face is picked off raw. I didn't want nobody to see me like that. But I eventually had to come out sometime. I'll say that much. I was in a whole relationship and just forgot my relationship and everything because I was strung out. But that it made me feel real bad. But that was the start of it, and I just could not stop. The first time I thought about stopping was when they found Amber's body. That's when I was like, okay, something because they're gonna let me die in here if I allow myself to die. You know, so.
Did your family know about like when you was in addiction at the time? And
my mom just recently found out I was on meth, and I don't even think she's fully comprehend that I was. Because I've mentioned it a few times. I was doing meth in prison. You know, just a few times, and I don't think she's fully. Her things was, I know you was on pills. You know what I mean? I don't think she fully comprehend that meth is a whole different. You know.
Right. No, for real. And you know, for anybody that was on the yard and was addicted to anything, it can be hard for anyone. I still was bringing in nobody believed me.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I gotta sneak in my medicine. So when my mom would come, she would bring me in opiates.
Yeah.
Because I was like, shit, they not giving me nothing here.
They ain't
Nobody's believing me.
They ain't helping me.
So I gotta stay high. So a lot of people didn't know that
you were struggling too. Yeah, you were struggling too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even though I looked like I was okay, I was on my own pills. Like I would sell my rods and stuff because I didn't give a fuck about that. Yeah. I was getting my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, it's easy to fall into addiction on the yard.
Very easy.
Especially because it's so gloomy. It's so that or the fact that I would hear some of my friends that I thought was my friends talk behind my back. It was just like, I need to be high because I can't.
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in there. Like, you got to be a strong individual to stay sober in there and have a genuine heart in there.
Yes.
It's genuine sober heart. Exactly. Very few. They're out there. They were there, but it was very few.
Yeah, no, really. Now, you did, have a few relationships in prison. What was that like for you?
This was horrible. It was horrible. You know, I was not the best. Being high, being in a relationship, struggling with depression and anger issues, a lot of domestic violence, controlling because, you change in there. So the monster that I became, my mindset was, instead of looking at this person as a human being, you look at the person as a piece of property.
That's heavy.
Because you have to understand, I'm going to kind of break this down like a pound a little bit. They take you as an individual, give you a number, strip you from your name, strip you from your identity, strip you from everything, strip you down to your clothes, checking your body parts. So you have nothing. You ain't got no family, you ain't got nothing. You stripped away from nothing. So what's yours in prison is yours in prison. Yeah. These are my shoes, this is my area, this is my pillow, this is my blanket. And
don't touch it.
And do not touch it. Same goes with penitentiary relationships, most. I'm not gonna speak on yours. You know what I'm saying? But most penitentiary relationships. So you get yourself a little prison girlfriend. This is my woman. She does what I say. I her, and it's very sick, and it's sad. And the person that I was and how I dealt with them. I've apologized to all of them. And really all of them. I'm still good friends with. I don't even know or why they chose to believe me. Thanks, but because we have all of them a genuine good friendship now. But thinking back at it when I have flashbacks and just thinking about like how I used to, it grieves me. Yeah, I wouldn't want nobody that I love to get done like that. I wouldn't, my karma got hit. With the relationships that I've been in since I've been out, they was abusive towards me. But how I see it is, I was walking around the compound like I could treat. It was okay for me to treat them like that. No, they're human beings. It wasn't okay for me to treat them like that. So the two relationships that I have been in since I've been out, they treated me like that. I needed to feel that. I needed to feel, that I made these individuals in prison feel like they weren't enough, and they already felt that way. But I was like, well, let me come into your life and make you feel even more, So when I started getting treated that way, I was like, you know what? Karma's real. I kind of had to take that. Karma's real.
That's real.
And I'm never going to treat any human being like that ever again.
And a lot of us don't realize some of the things that we've done on the yard until we get out, or how we was until somebody tells you. sometimes even though you living in your own skin, you don't know who or what you looked at like until somebody tells you.
Till you know what made me realize, I'm gonna be honest, what made me realize, like, I was kind of looking in the mirror and I was like, dang. And it kind of, you know what I'm saying?
You okay?
It kind of made me be like, I looked at the individual in the yard and I said, that's how I look when I do that to so and so.
Right.
Was when my friend Amber Hillman was at Canteen. She was getting into it with T. And I'm pretty sure it was over a bill that she was supposed to get at Canteen to pay for meth. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And T grabbed her and boom, headbutted her.
Ooh.
And I had to watch my friend be embarrassed, shut down, and she didn't do nothing. She was broke. And when I seen that, I was like, I just looked at myself like
that's who I used to be.
That's who I am. Like at the time, that was what, and it made me be like, I need to stop. Because I mean, at the end of the day, at the time, the people that I was with, I felt like I loved at the time, you know, and I was like, why would I want to do, you know, so and so like that, you know?
Right.
So I had to see it. I had to see somebody else do somebody that I love like that, and that outside looking in, it was ugly, and that kind of made me reevaluate how I treat people.
Right. And it's hard to see somebody that you really, really love and care about being treated the same way that you treating somebody.
Yeah, that was hard. And the headbutt was so hard. I seen the indention in her head, and it was so aggressive and violent. I'm like, I've looked like that many times. It was, yeah, I didn't like that.
Now, even though prison was in a dark place, did you find any joy being in there?
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there was some fun times in prison. There was some, we had to do what we had to do to make it. So there was some fun times in prison. I got plenty of funny stories. I have plenty of, do you remember when, you know, I was talking to Samantha Faulkner the other day, and we were talking about the funny times in prison, you know, and when we got off the phone, she texted me, she said, you know what I was thinking? I said, what? She said, so, most days prison was like college to us. And I was like, you know what?
It was.
It was. Like, there was some funny, fun moments. Like, when they allowed us to go outside on the compounds, we figured it out. We was coming up with events. We were, you know, putting water in the trash buckets and having water fights. We were figuring it out. Little birthday
People
parties.
would pay for tickets to go to Christmas parties. You hear me?
Yeah.
If they wasn't invited, it's like, yo, let me
get your ticket.
Get your ticket, shit. For real. Like, and don't get me wrong, because I say this too. Like, there was some good times on the yard. Yeah. Especially when you've done a lot of time. You know, it's not.
And you make your own family there. Yeah. So you figure it out.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
Holidays come around just like they cook out there. We was doing that in the yard. We was buying real food from the kitchen. Yeah. So, well, not real food. We was buying
inmate consumption food from the kitchen.
We was buying the inmate consumption food and making it do what it do.
Yeah.
You know figured it out. Sometimes we was making 3-tier cakes. The fuck with the cookies.
Weddings. It's a culture. It's a culture. And you figure it out, and you figure out how to have fun, all of that. You know? So there was a lot of fun times, a lot of funny moments. Right now, as I'm talking, I'm thinking about Kush. Sitting back. I mean, there would be times I'm just sitting back drinking my little Kool-Aid, and I'm just watching Kush on the yard, just laughing. You know what I mean? Just there's moments. Melissa Jones, free Melissa. You know. You know.
I can't even think of that native lady's name. She had a bird.
Joy.
I remember whenever Joy started beating up Murphy. and I know that it's not funny to some. But the way Joy...
Smooth! It was smooth!
Wait, y'all know how small Murphy is, but the way she was holding up Murphy's backpack...
It was like... Man, that was the smoothest. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Murphy. Free Murphy. But that was smooth. She said, hey, kid, leave that possum alone.
Right.
We were kids.
It was about a possum.
We were kids. Like, I was 22, so Murphy had to be 20.
Yeah.
You know, so
to the older ones that had already been there, over the possum.
yes.
To the older ones that was there, we was like, y'all looked at us like the babies, you know what I'm saying? The baby kids.
Yeah. At the
You know
time,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So it wasn't like Joy was just like beating Murphy up. She was like yoking her up.
Yeah, it wasn't no like, literally like, it wasn't no beat down. It was just like, hey, you better.
But the way she
you heard what
had
I
her
said.
holding up that baby.
That was wild. I was like, dang. And she was swinging. Murphy was really trying to swing too. She was really trying to.
Joy was
And she
like,
was so
man.
smooth with it. Pow! Pow! You know, got her. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
I was right there in front of the gym, like.
That was just like, yeah.
Looking at Joy like she's Superman or something. That was crazy.
Joy gonna fight for them fur
Animals,
babies.
leave them animals alone.
I don't give a fuck if it's a skunk. Joy, you ain't gonna hurt no fur baby in front of Joy.
You ain't gonna do it. Still to this day, I promise you, I would be a little leery if I was to try to do some animal cruelty in front of Joy. I'd be like, I ain't even gonna mess with you right now.
Man, y'all, if you just now tuning in, it's the Couch Chronicles where it ain't no fucking limits.
Did the dress flying, Sarah? Yeah. You already, I've seen
Man.
it. At the time, this is how throwback this fight was. Murphy didn't
have no dreads. Okay.
She didn't have no dreads.
None.
That's how
old it was.
That's how old it was. Yeah, Murphy's dresses ain't. She didn't have no dreads.
She didn't have nothing. She only had that little fro.
That little fro on the top.
Ass fro, yep.
She didn't have no dreads. That's
exactly.
how. This was old. She was so old. She was with street old.
Yeah.
Like it was old. Yeah.
Facts. If just now tuning in, it's the Couch Chronicles where it ain't no fucking limits. I do this every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 Central Time. Make sure you follow Couch Chronicles No Limits on Spotify, Pandora, THA Couch on Facebook, TikTok, and Big O. Couch Chronicles No Limits on Instagram and my main YouTube Instagram and my .com, which is RealJanell. Did I say that right? THAR. Yeah, I did. I know it's my own name, but my medicine's kicking in, and I'm like, ooh. Whoa, but it's all good. Make sure you follow Sara Foreman on all social media. I still have some more questions if y'all bear with me, if y'all still here. You know what I'm saying? No matter wherever you're watching, make sure that you hit the like button, share the live, tell your people about the couch. And if you are comfortable enough to let me interview you, DM me. And when it comes to prison talk or anything to do with prison, I don't have no set price. I don't care what nobody say. I don't. It's donation. If you want to donate, you find a donate. If you don't, guess what? We still gonna get it popping. Again, follow Sara on all social media. Her information is in the description as well.
Especially TikTok, because they kind of paying me. I only got $1.10, but I think I can make something.
Follow her on TikTok. Follow her on TikTok.
I can make something work.
She could become a millionaire.
I love you, Nicole Thomas, with all my heart.
Oh,
I love you, Nicole.
Now, I do want to ask, what was the worst experience that you had on the yard? That other water's yours too.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was the worst experience I had on the yard is when they found Amber Hibblin's body herself.
That's actually my next question.
That was the worst experience.
Because you was good friends with Amber.
Very good.
How do you feel about her death?
It's injustice all around the board. I feel like there's a lot of people to blame for that death. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say whether it was suicide or homicide. The reason why I'm not going to say that is because, for one, I wasn't there when she took her last breath. Mm-hmm. I was there when they found her body. For two, her family is still fighting to clear her name from the suicide. So my personal opinion about what happened or whatever, it doesn't matter. But previous from her death, like I said, she would constantly go to mental health, knock on mental health's door. They were shutting the door on her. And I will be and for those who knows me, y'all know that, I'm walking in this spiritual journey, I'm Team Jesus, I love Jesus, but for a long time I was mad at the church for how they treated the church and prison, for how they treated Amber. She went to mental health, seeking mental health services, they denied her. She went to church, hey, can I sit down and listen? And I was there when they were like, you're in a relationship with Jessica Partnow. And she looked at Pastor Tammy and was like, well, I'm sick. In the church for the sick. She ain't had nothing to say. So I personally, you know, kind of thinking about Amber and her situation, I personally feel like, well, if somebody would have helped, maybe that would have prevented a lot of stuff. Whether it was her unaliving herself, she would have felt like she had a support system to lean on before she did that. Whether it was, I'm just going to say it, T taking her life, she would have found enough strength to lead T because she had a support system. Amber didn't have no support system. She had me, but I was struggling in my addiction, you know? And Sara wasn't always there. She didn't have a support system. She didn't have nobody. So the way they treated her like a dog, I think that's what, you know. And that whole situation, that was the worst. That was the most traumatic event that took place while I was locked up.
A lot of people took her death, you know, hard. You know, Amber was a very, very beautiful person inside and out. And I wasn't on the yard when it happened, but I did go to her funeral, and it was very packed. You know, she had a beautiful funeral, but it was a lot of different rumors that was actually, you know, going on around that incident.
Oh yeah, I mean, as soon as it happened, it was like T did it. They were saying her roommate did it. It was a lot of rumors.
But even if they said T did it, the penitentiary didn't do anything on that.
They didn't. I'm gonna tell you what they did to me afterwards. Okay, so Amber passes away. There's so much to the story. It's like, where do I start? I'll say a week after Amber passes away, I'm like, all right, you know, because I stopped doing drugs for a while after her death. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get in the shower. I'm going to get my hair cut. I'm going to, you know, be myself. So I go get my hair cut. I get in the shower. I put on some clothes, you know, and thinking I'm going to have a good day. I sit on my bunk. The case manager, out of nowhere, comes out and starts tripping on me. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm like, I say, you know, what's your problem? I say, you need to chill the F out, right? That's all I said. She lied on the misconduct and said I went into her office. I pointed my finger at her and I said, I'm gonna beat you up, B. So, complete lie. It was all set up. I go back there and lock. I'm back there. Terry Rims back there. Nicole, a.k.a. Lil Wayne's back there. Paige back there. All of Amber's friends are back there. Little did they know, I'm roommates with Treon. At the time, Treon's a juvenile, so she back there, so she gets the phone. It's the time when we weren't allowed to call. So when Treon get the phone, I'm like, I need you to dial Amber's parents' numbers. They need to know that all her friends is back here. Boom. I call. All of Amber's friends are back here. Like, they're doing something weird. Like, they lied on me and said that I threatened the staff. I didn't. They being weird. Like, and we are all back here. I was supposed to meet with an investigator, Fox News, and somebody else, 3 people, because they needed information about, they were investigating Amber's death.
Right.
They sent me back there to lock.
How long was Amber dead in her cell before her parents knew?
Before her parents knew? The person that called Amber's parents.
It wasn't a staff member, was it?
No. It was an inmate. I want to say the person that called Amber's parents, I want to say they called while they were all over her body. Like in the cell calling. And they called and they was like, you know, Amber died. And they was like, what? Click. That's all they could do. So when Amber's parents called Mabel Bassett, like, hey, we hearing that we just got a call saying that our daughter's dead. Like, Amber. Oh yeah, she died. Click.
Even what?
That's what they did. That's what they did.
Now, because what I was going to ask is, how do you feel that the penitentiary handles inmate death?
It depends who it is. Unfortunately, they need to handle all deaths the same, but it depends who it is. I'll be honest with you, like, and I hate to say this, the day when Amber died, people took it as a joke. They laughed, until I started tripping out. I remember. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with who it was. It was Bulldog. She was running. They were taking it as a joke, and she was like, Amber, what? She hung, and she was laughing about it. Literally laughing about it in front of Pastor Marshall. Terry was there. My friend Terry was there, and my friend Alex. She was there. So she hung herself, laughing, and I got up and I wigged out, and I was like, and I looked at her. I said, that was my friend. I said, I know you ain't laughing at my friend, and she's dead. And she looked at me and she kind of stopped. And I was like, I don't care who she was to y'all. Like, she was somebody to me. She was a mother. She was somebody's mother. She was somebody's daughter. She was my friend. And I just started busting out crying. And I think when people seen my reaction to the death, they were like, we just going to kind of chill out on that. Because I was wigging out, you know. But they was laughing at first. People were laughing at first because Amber was nobody but a rich, privileged white girl that had money and was strung out in prison, right? Like, nobody, oh well, she was just another meth head that died. That's originally how. Then, when it started getting, you know, people started talking about it and stuff, like, people were like, oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Don't say sorry to me because you're not sorry. Like, you really don't care.
Right.
You know, so don't come over here acting like she had a few friends and that's just what it was. You know what I mean? And, but it was completely different from when Amanda Lane, who had more respect on the yard, passed away. And the effect, how it shook the yard up, like it really shook the yard up. And it brought back so much pizza. I was so upset when Amanda Lane died because she was my friend too. So when Amanda Lane died and how it just moved the yard and they was like, oh, we ain't taking this. This is enough's enough. You know, and yeah. That affected the yard. Yeah, it affected the yard.
It took Amanda Lane passing away for
anything
for you guys to fight to get body cams on officers, when we should have been fighting for that, even when they was doing us like how they was doing us in shakedowns.
Yeah. We should have been fighting for that.
We should have been fighting before anybody passed away. It shouldn't take somebody dying on the yard for us to fight. And then
the way they did, me and Nicole, I'm going to sit there and tell you, when I finally got the news, people thought I was tripping, okay? So I'm arguing with a girl I was dealing with at the time, and I'm arguing with her. Somebody comes up to her. I'm making this long story extremely short. It's really long, but I'm making it short. I'm going to go ahead and rewind. I'm sitting under a tree. I'm coming down. This is the worst come down I've ever experienced in my life. So I'm sitting in front of the tree, in front of the C2. And I'm looking, and ironically, I see T. Rucker in front of C3. She's sweating. She's wiping the sweat off her head. And she's looking towards C1, but she kind of tripping, real animated. She gets like that when she's hot. She's like that when she's sober. When she's hot, she's real animated. So she's real animated. And I looked at her, and I thought to myself, look at this fool. And I continued on. So they closed the compound. Terry, my friend Terry at the time, lives on C1. Or had to take laundry to C1. Something like that. We were going to C1. So I'm like, Terry, I'm going to walk with you. Now, me and Terry's having a spiritual conversation at the time, okay? So I'm talking to her, and I just remember we just having a spiritual conversation. I walk down, boom. The girl that I'm dealing with at the time, she's tripping with me. So we arguing. We go to C1C, and somebody comes up to us, and they're like, Amber, a girl named Amber Hamburgers found dead in her cell. So I grabbed the person. I'm like, you mean Amber Hilberly? And they're like, yeah, Amber Hilberly. I instantly run out of C1C to go to C1B. So I'm running. And as I'm running towards C1B, a group of people are running out of C1B because they're tripping because there's a body in a cell. And they're trying to, they're tripping. So I run in. So as soon as I go into C1B, I see Kiabi, her face is sweating. And she's like, Sara, stop. Push Kiabi to the side. Ain't no stop. What's going on?
Wait, pause. Didn't Kiabi and T used to be together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Kiabi and T used to be together. Listen, I mean, and I ain't gonna take it that far on what, but I was kind of like, what? But yeah. But
well, the reason why I asked is because when you said sweating and then animation and I'm just everything.
Yeah. So she's like, Sara, just listen. She's trying to calm me down, but there ain't no calming me down. Like, what's going on? So when I push Kiabi to the side, I see my friend Terry, and I just left Terry. She's on her knees, face red, and she's crying. She's like, God, please, no, God, please, bring her back. God. She's saying that. So I'm yelling at Terry. I'm like, God, like, what's going on? Like, what? You know, and I look up and I see Ho and Charity doing this movement. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm tripping. So I'm walking up the steps like, I know my friend ain't gone up here. Like, I'm going up the steps and Miss Hall, she's like, Sara, you do not come up, don't come up here. Now, mind you, the person I'm arguing with, she got my shirt like this as I'm going up, so I feel a pull. So she's like, don't go up here. And I was like, I'm going up there. So she's like, Sara Foreman, don't effing come up here. You don't want to see this. And something made me stop. Because I'm like, you're right. I don't. If that's what's going on up there, I don't want to see my friend like that.
Right.
So the girl, she pulls me, and she's like, she grabs me like this, and she's like, come on, Sara, like, you don't want to see it. And I stand back next to the microwave, and I'm just up there looking. And I see, like, as they doing CPR, I see a body, jump. So Chi-Chi's standing on the table. She look up, she turns around and looks at me, and she's like, they revived her. They grabbed me. She walks me out, and they're like, okay, she's good. She's alive. Everything's okay. But I knew in my spirit that it wasn't okay. And as I'm walking, it was like I was walking in a dream. I'm walking back to my unit on C2, and I'm like in shock. As I'm walking, Nicole, Lil Wayne, she walks past me, and I'm like, I just started crying. I said, Nicole. And I started crying, and she was like, I can't. Nicole was like, I can't talk about this right now, Sara. Leave me alone. She's tripping. So she runs off somewhere. I go on the pod. When I go on the pod, I'm crying. And everybody's like, man, Sara need to go to sleep. Because mind you, I've been up about 9 days by this time. So they was like, Sara needs to sleep. She tripping. I said, I'm not tripping. My friend's dead. I'm not tripping. Everybody laughed at me when I got on the pod, thinking I was tripping. Everybody was laughing. Oh, man, Sara tripping, man. She tripping. Amber ain't dead. About 2 hours later, T goes on the pod and everything, man. Like, I saw it's a long story. That was a long story and a long drawn out day. But 2 hours later, I found out that she was gone. And when I found out the news, we had a nice, caring, compassionate therapist named Dr. Smith, black lady, black staff. Okay, they were racist towards her. They treated her like crap. But she was smart, she was caring, and she actually was a good therapist. As soon as we found out she was gone, she comes and gets me out of the unit. She grabs my hand and she was like, "We're gonna do breathing treatments, and we're gonna walk around the compound. We're gonna do breathing treatments with Nicole." She goes get Nicole. We walk around. The officer sees that she's being compassionate and kind to the inmates. She was gone, I would say, probably 3 months after that, and got rolled up for that.
What?
She got rolled up for doing her job.
Wow.
She got rolled up for doing her job. So the mental health that I received after that traumatic event was none. Nobody, except Dr. Smith. Nobody came and checked up on me. They sent me to lock. They UA'd me. They treated me like crap after that.
Because they was just trying to make it to where, like, you was just high, just having a moment.
Yeah, they was trying to say I was just high. No, like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm high, but they ain't got, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that doesn't take away from the fact that my friend just died.
My friend just died, and I'm hurt. That was the day when I seen them do that. I was like, I gotta figure it out. I can't be going home like this. I can't die in prison. I'm tired of getting high. I'm done. That was the day that I took sobriety into consideration, I'll say.
Now, a lot of things get swept under the rug when it comes to prison. Would you like to elaborate on that?
a lot of things. You know, the mistreatment, the abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Was you there that one time they beat Sarita up like she was Rodney King on the street?
And even though Rainbow, I know Rainbow remembers this. I remember whenever we first got a black warden, and to me, I felt like they was just attacking just black people in the yard randomly.
Beating us up.
They slid Rainbow's face all the way down from the cafeteria all the way down to almost to the gym door. I remember her face was so scratched the fuck up from being drug on the pavement by the staff, by Rosencrantz and them.
They was beating us up.
Yeah.
It was a summer where they was knocking us out. And they swept it under the rug, and there was nothing we can do about it. When we sit there and write grievances, they shred the grievances, and the paperwork comes up missing. I've been on the phone with my mama. There was one time I got bit by a spider. My whole arm was infected, and it was cutting off my airway. Like, I was about to die. And I get on the phone with my mama. They cut off the phone call. Because I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. They're not helping. Yeah. My mom came and see me the next week and said, why is my daughter green? Why does she look like this?
Right.
So,
right.
They sweep that under the rug. They sweep the fact that people are staying up for days and days and days, and they let them get high, staying up that long. They sweep that under the rug. There's so much that they sweep under the rug. It's ridiculous. Police brutality.
Yep. Rainbow said they beat my ass up.
Yep.
I remember that shit. That to me, that traumatized me. Just, I was like, oh my God. And I called my mom like, Mama, I don't know if I'm gonna be next. But they literally are doing stuff to the black people.
But it was the same. It was the same. That happened the same summer that, like, when Mr. Wall was like, boom, like he beat Sarita.
Yes,
like,
I'm telling you.
And they started kicking her.
Like
it was like they were getting jumped. Like they jumped her. Like they were kicking her and kicking her and kicking her. And it's just, a lot of stuff gets swept under the rug, and when you cry out for help, they muffle you. They find ways to muffle you to where you can't say nothing.
Yep, they'll cut off your visit. They'll cut off your phone calls. They'll make it to where you don't even want to talk about it no more.
And you get used to it. You get used to it.
Once they notice that you content with it, you finally get your privileges back. You can be in a regular population, because first they'll put you in lock until you think about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take you out
until they break you. It's a form of breaking you. I mean, perfect example. They swept Amanda Lane's death under the rug. Yeah, they hoorah'd about it for a minute. The inmates, they should have kept the same energy until they seen a consistent change. Yeah. But I ain't gonna. Those are my sisters, and it really ain't. It's not their fault. What they swept under the rug is, okay, there's so many questions. When she was yelling that she was wanting to unalive herself by cop, y'all should have put her in the turtle suit. That's protocol. Instead of putting her in a turtle suit, y'all said, go back to your unit. She's like, well, I need to talk to somebody. Her support system was Vontina. She goes to D building to talk to Vontina. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like, this is how I'm feeling. Cop said, get off the unit. Davis gets on the walkie-talkie. Hey, Davis. So Amanda Lane's on the unit. Come get her. He comes, gets her, beats her when she gets on her pod. He beats her. They said that it sounded like a head. It sounded like a watermelon smashing on the ground. Beats the crap out of her. Pepper sprays her. Instead of taking her to medical, they take her back there to lock. And then here's the thing about this. They take her back there to lock. Mr. McCord realized, okay, like, Davis, you're getting a little too far. So he removes Davis from beating her. She ain't here. She's not here. She's not alive. But y'all swept it under the rug, and her mom passed away without getting justice. What happened to her daughter? Wow. Now her mom's passed. Her mom had to take her last breath without knowing what happened to her daughter, or getting justice what happened to her daughter. It's sick.
Since you was locked up, can you remember about how many women passed away?
It was Stephanie Wiley. It was Amber. Like while I was locked up, or
while you was locked up?
There was like a couple of ladies that I didn't know. It was Gangsta's roommate passed away. It was Amber. When I was locked up, there wasn't really, things didn't start happening until after I left, people was going, like, I was like, what is going on? Red, Stephanie Wally, I want to say happened when I was locked up towards the end of my sentence. Amanda, like, every time I turned around, it was always somebody.
Now, why do you think the prisons are getting away with so much?
Because they keep it on the inside. They keep it on the inside.
You think the officers ride with each other?
Absolutely. I'll say this much. I know. I ain't gonna say that. They just keep it on the inside. I'm not gonna say that because, you know, that's an open case right now. But I'll talk about it whenever that case is closed. But DOC wants to keep their business to themselves. DOC does not want the news getting anything. DOC does not want families getting anything.
Right.
DOC doesn't want nobody knowing nothing.
They feel like they need to handle it in-house.
Yes.
But when y'all handle it in-house,
nobody gets fired. When it's handled inside, there's no justice served.
None. And imagine being raped by an officer and then it's taken care of in-house and you still got to see this motherfucker every day. And then not only that, is because you open your mouth, he's going to treat you fucked up. You get punished. I know just recently there was a young lady that was raped by an officer. The officer, I think, ended up getting arrested. But they ended up punishing the girl. Yeah. She was getting... Yeah, she's punished right now. Oh. Right now. She's going through it right now. And how do you get punished for speaking your truth? That's wild. That's wild. Now, what did prison do to your mental health?
I was going through a severe mental health crisis while I was in prison. I was looking back how I would just like kind of talk to myself, talk to the air, like how I would just kind of wig out. It was a severe mental health crisis. Depression.
Do you feel like TS, therapeutic seclusion, is enough?
No, that's just to put you away and shut you up and calm you down real quick. You get some extra snacks. You know, you get kind of satisfied with the extra snacks. You know what I'm saying? Like at the time, because that's what you got. You know, but it's not enough. Psychotherapy is what's needed. It's not enough to, I'm going through mental health issues. You know, you go to the mental health, get on the iPad with a doctor. Okay, so you feeling like this and you feeling like this and you feeling like that. Okay, so I'm going to give you Tovamax. I'm going to give you da. And they just give you a mixture of things that really don't make sense. And it sends you on your way. No, you need to talk things out, because when you talk things out to a therapist and there's somebody listening to you and then somebody giving you assignments, so maybe you should do this, or, you know, learn certain coping skills. When you got somebody like that, that's what helps. You know what I mean? But, yeah, severe mental health issues, and the fact that it was neglected. The fact that it was neglected like that, like, it's, ugh.
I see that there's comments saying that, asking if this will be playing later. And yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, THA Real JANELL, and also Couch Chronicles No Limits on Spotify and Pandora. Those are the only way that you'll be able to rewatch this, because it will be deleted off of all the other platforms, because I like to keep it real exclusive. But it will still be on Spotify, Pandora, and also my YouTube channel. So, yes. Wow. And for anyone that went through anything that we're talking about tonight, my heart goes out to you guys, because even whenever the things that I went through, even before we got on live, I was crying. Some things still affect me. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I'm good, the flashbacks aren't good. You know, and it's something that I can't control. You can't control when a flashback comes. You can't control when anxiety starts to creep up. You know, so it's times where I'm still traumatized from some of the things that I went through on the yard. So I get it.
Small things. There was one time a few weeks ago, I'm sitting at work with Sam, because me and Sam work together. So I'm sitting at the job and I hear a door slam and keys. And
just randomly.
I mean, I was like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, don't do that. And they were like, do what? I said, just kind of chill on some of the doors, swinging them keys. You know what I'm saying? Like, it tripped me out. Made me want to put up my phone. I ain't even mess with phones in prison.
Right, right.
But, yeah.
Now, you know, being on the yard, they used to say the word patient. What classifies somebody as a patient?
Me. They used to always, no, somebody that had mental health issues. Somebody that was walking around talking to themselves. Somebody that was in C3C. You know, somebody that was real emotional. Somebody that would get high and do silly stuff. You know, they would classify that as a patient, which is a client out here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a patient.
And just so you guys know, and let's get this established now, none of you guys were patients. I hated that word with a passion. I hated when people would say that to me. I'm like,
we was all just going through
because I speak my mind.
Yeah.
Because I'm standing up for myself. I'm a patient.
Yeah.
No, I'm impatient, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready to get the fuck up out this bitch.
Right.
Like, and you know, sometimes when you say things to people, you don't realize that can fuck them up too.
Yeah.
You think when Sara was going through her addiction and y'all calling her a patient, that made her feel good?
Right. Especially in a sensitive time where most women in prison, men too, they're broken and they don't know their identity.
Mm-hmm.
So you're labeling them, and when you don't know your identity, that will cause one to feel like, well, dang, maybe I am a patient.
Right.
Maybe I am just a junkie.
Exactly.
Those are all worldly labels that people put on you.
Mm-hmm.
You have an identity. You are somebody. So, it's that patient word. When the first time I heard that, it was from Brittany Pigeon. She was talking to somebody. She was like, she a patient. I'm like, a what? An A&R window. I'm like, what's that? Like a patient?
Right.
Like she's sick? Like, what you talking about?
Right.
I didn't know what they was talking about. The prison language is crazy.
Yeah. So
Prison language.
it's just, and it can stick with you, and it can make you act like,
yeah.
oh, you want me to be a patient? I'm gonna act like a patient.
Yep.
It'll make you want to do that.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna do what you're saying that I'm doing then. Fuck it. Now, again, the situation you said with Amber is what kind of helped you, you know, wing away from
seeing her lose her life made me fight for mine. I always say that.
Mm-hmm.
That was the beginning. That was the beginning of, okay, like you ain't going out like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because if they're gonna let you go out like that if you go out like that. So
Yeah.
it made me fight for mine. I started going to AA classes. That's when I started going to certain church services. Kind of started getting in my word and praying. You know, like, not kind of a lot. I just started fighting for my life. Like, I was like, I don't want to, because it was real ironic. I want to say 2 weeks before Amber passed away, we were looking for drugs. We were looking for meth. And I can't remember if we found it or if we didn't find it. I can't remember. I just remember eating. So we probably didn't find it because I was eating. We didn't find any drugs. And she looked at me and it was so sincere. And she was always somebody with like a weird, dry, dark sense of humor. Never was serious, never was gushy. And she looked at me and she said, Sara. And I'm like, yeah, you know. And she was like, you know, we too good to be doing drugs like this, right? I kind of leaned back and I was quiet. And she was like, well, what are we doing? Like, for real, what are we doing? And I was like, I don't know. And she said, I don't want to do this no more. That was literally 2 weeks before.
Wow. Now, what classes did you take in prison that actually helped you?
That women in transition class. A women in transition, helping women in recovery, leadership class. Those are the classes that helped me. Those are the only classes that helped me. Faith and character didn't help me. I was always getting kicked out. I took faith and character 3 times and I got kicked out every single time. You know, and those other classes, like criminal thinking, like those other classes didn't help really. But I learned how to set boundaries, or what setting boundaries looked like in women in transition. What accountability was in women in transition. Women in recovery, I learned about trauma. I learned about why.
That's what's up, Lord.
You know what I'm saying? I am the way I am.
She said that program helped her get out of prison.
Which one?
Helped her mentally. I
Which
think
one?
the women.
Yeah, yes.
Helped
That
her.
was a good
Yeah.
one. That was a good one. That one helped me. There was like only 3. Only 3.
Okay. Now, a lot of women say that they're going to get out and do something about, you know, what prison took them through and what they went through on the yard. But they don't actually do it.
Right.
But you have been, you know, you've been
Yes.
working in a sober living home, and, you know, what got you involved with that? And
Working in sober living home? Like this one? Or, I mean, because I did it when I got out of prison. Like, I was a house manager at his house manager's run the Bears program. But I just wasn't feeling it at the time. Like, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to, I got out of prison, went to a transitional living home, and I was like, I kind of want to do my own thing. So I went through and then I wanted to be in toxic relationships at the time too. I wanted to keep that. You know what I mean? Right. So I got involved in, left the prison, left the program. I got involved, got my own spot, got involved in a relationship. And I didn't want to focus on myself. I didn't want to focus on healing anymore. I didn't want to focus on working on being whole. I was healed in certain areas, but I didn't want to focus on working being whole. So I used relationships as a distraction. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't doing that. So I'm going to keep my toxic relationships, right? So the person that I was with, when I got out of the program, we ended up breaking up, and I ended up being with someone else. And that was mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive relationship. Like, it was pretty bad. And I didn't want to focus on myself so bad that I was like, oh, I gotta stay. I gotta figure out and stay in this. And so we ended up breaking up, you know. And when we broke up, I got a call from my pastor, and he was like, do you want to manage the sober living home? I was like, yeah. Because when we broke up, I was like, you know what? I'm done with relationships. I'm going to focus on myself. I tapped out. I was like, hey, I'm going to listen to you, Lord. I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he called me. He was like, do you want to manage the sober living home? And I'm like, you know what? This would be the perfect opportunity, now that I'm focusing on myself, to not only heal, but help others heal.
Right.
You know, help women getting out of prison and giving them a safe place to live. Help women getting out of addiction, giving them a safe place to live. And loving them and having to hold them accountable at the same time, but loving them and walking them through it. And I had a real nice townhouse in Claremore, and I left it. Moved to Tulsa to help women.
Wow.
You know, and I get paid for it too. I work at Grand and I do it too, but it's more fulfilling doing it at a house than at Grand, because there's so many people at Grand and they come in and out. I'm not really able to help them like that, but the women at the house, I absolutely love them, and it's really fulfilling helping them. It's a blessing. They don't realize how much they bless me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
okay, I got 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. I definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
One of my last questions is: did you cut off people that you were tight with because of your growth?
Yeah, lots of people. Lots of people. You know, there's a saying that my pastor says. He says, who all has to suffer while you remain the same. And the thing about that is, I'm constantly growing every day.
Right.
I'm constantly looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, okay, like, you need to grow in this area, Sarah. Like, this area, okay, you can't be doing that no more. You can't be doing that no more. You got to grow here and you got to grow there. So I realized as I was growing and some things with changing inside of me, and I was getting a distaste for certain things, and my friends still
wanted to have that.
And I was like, you know, my friend Blair, I love Blair with all my heart, but some days she doesn't have good days some days, and you know, she'll go through little, you know, and we have to put a boundary. But when she's sober, we're connected to the hip. And I've done a lot. I've cut a lot of people off to the point where I kind of look up and I'm like, I ain't got no friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't. I kind of, you know, really all my friends are in Oklahoma City. So I'm lonely and I'm not really lonely, but like I'm kind of.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Because I got Samantha in Tulsa and Caitlin, but you know, it's like there's no kicking it.
Yeah.
Like when I was young, like calling the homie up and going up. There's no
Right.
kicking it. I'm not kicking it, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So it's I've had cut a lot of people off. People that I did time with, people I went to school with, and you still on the same stuff when we was 15. Yeah, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's a lot of people that I've had to cut off.
Mm-hmm. Right, but it's better for your mental health, you know, and
Woo.
and sometimes it hurts. It hurts to have to cut somebody off, but when it's better for your mental health, that doesn't hurt.
And it's hard sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's one girl that I had to cut off. We mentioned her the other day. I'm not gonna mention her name on the podcast. I ain't gonna be disrespectful, but we mentioned her the other day while I was here. She ain't never put a meth sack in my hand, not one time. And I've always loved her for that alone, that you had it. But when you had it and I asked you for it, you said, you better than that, and I will never put that in your hand.
That's dope.
But had to kind of set some boundaries up because she was doing something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I'm not doing that. I'm no criminal activity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No drugs.
Right.
I'm not doing none
I don't
of
want to
that.
be around nobody that's not trying to elevate.
No. If you can't help me grow, and if I can't help you grow,
yeah, that's period.
you know.
Now, my last question is, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
College degree for sure. I'm in school.
Mm-hmm.
College degree. And you know what? I actually see myself running my own sober living homes.
Wow, that's gonna be dope.
And writing books.
Mm-hmm.
I have that so heavy on my heart, Janelle. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to write some books. I haven't navigated or kind of
figured out.
I haven't figured out what I want to do, but in the next 10 years, I'm gonna have a book out.
That's what's up.
I'm pretty sure I'll have a book out.
I definitely appreciate you for coming to the couch.
Oh,
being
man.
so transparent. I love you, y'all. We go back longer than some of us, but I definitely cherish our relationship.
I mean,
And I want to apologize for us getting into it before.
it's fine.
But
It's fine.
I see the growth in you.
Yeah,
I love it. And now that we both see growth in each other, it's like, oh, now I know who you are. Now I know.
Yeah.
We back to who we was supposed to be.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's just it's just, you know, the past, it was just trying to figure things.
Yes.
Not only ourselves out as individuals, but our environment is just you know, but absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you for being on the couch.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. We did a 2-hour session.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you do want to go back and rewatch it, it's always going to be on Spotify and Pandora, Couch Chronicles No Limits. And it will also be on my YouTube channel, which is THA Real JANELL. Make sure that you follow Sara on all social media.
Please.
It's all about love, support, good vibes, and positive energy. And that's all we trying to spread and elevate. The album, Elevate. Come on now. Go stream Elevate album, because that's all we trying to do in life is elevate. I love you guys so much. It's the Couch Chronicles, where it ain't no fucking limits. I love y'all, and I will see you guys tomorrow on the couch.
Bye, Nicole.
Hey, y'all have a good night.
I'm gonna meet you one day, Laura.
Right. No, for real.
For real, because she seemed cool.
Yeah.